Today on TimesCast, turmoil in the north of Syria sparks sectarian tensions. Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton mediates as Sudan struggles ahead of July secession.
Tens of thousands of people have been displaced, and it seems like the role of American diplomacy and American leverage is pretty minimal.
And just 3 months ahead of 9/11's 10th anniversary, Matthew Orr looks at the state of Reconstruction at Ground Zero.
This is Anthony Shadid for the New York Times. Hundreds more Syrians fled across the border with Turkey on Monday after the government retook the town of Jisr al-Shughur, a place that has become a flashpoint in some ways of the weeks-long uprising against the government of President Bashar al-Assad. The arrival of the refugees across the border in Turkey is amounting to a humanitarian crisis. The Turkish government is struggling to cope with their numbers, and more Syrians appear on the verge of leaving their homes in the troubled area of northern Syria for the Turkish border. Already the aftermath of the attacks Sunday on Jisr al-Shughur is being felt. The government retook the towns with tanks and helicopter gunships. The town itself is in a complex area. Jisr al-Shughur is predominantly Sunni. To the south, Ishtabrak, Alawite. The very complexity of that area has made for a combustible mix, with many of the residents in Jisr al-Shughur accusing their neighbors in the towns of Ishtabrak of helping the government carry out this attack on the town. For weeks and weeks, we've heard the specter of sectarian strife in Syria. Syrians themselves look across the border to Iraq in one direction, to Lebanon in the other, drawing in part on the sectarian diversity in both those countries. Syria is no less complex, and fears are pronounced, particularly among the minorities there, that the sectarian strife could become worse. In the days and months ahead, Jisr al-Shughur may prove a symbol of Syria's diversity and its potential for sectarian strife writ small.
Today, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton visited Ethiopia to meet with Sudan's leaders, among other things, and to try to hammer out a compromise over many contentious issues that are plaguing Sudan as the country prepares to split into two. The southern part of Sudan is set to separate from northern Sudan in July, and there are many sticky issues that need to be resolved. There are negotiations going on about oil, about the disputed border, about citizenship, currency. There's a whole host of very contentious issues that both sides are struggling with. In the past few weeks, we've seen a lot of violence in Sudan as military tensions increase. And a lot of people think this is merely a tactic by the North to put pressure on the South so they can get more oil. Most of the oil in Sudan lies in the southern part that's going to break off. So the North is very concerned about the impact of separation. It doesn't sound like things are going very well at all. We've heard reports that a number of people have been killed recently, tens of thousands of people have been displaced, and these negotiations are really hitting an impasse. Neither side wants to budge, and it seems like the role of American diplomacy and American leverage is pretty minimal. The northern Sudanese government doesn't have an interest in agreeing to many of the things that the U.S. government wants it to agree to, and right now it just seems like tensions are heating up. Sudan is approaching a cataclysmic war closer and closer every day. The South is preparing to declare its independence, and it's very unclear how this is all going to be resolved in the next month.
With the 10th anniversary of the September 11th attacks just 3 months away, Reconstruction at Ground Zero is in full swing. One World Trade Center, previously known as the Freedom Tower, is rising, and contractors are putting finishing touches on the Memorial Plaza. But it has been a long road to this point.
We'll actually be completing and delivering more than we even thought possible 3 years ago.
One World Trade Center is on schedule to open at the end of 2013. It will be 104 stories, the tallest skyscraper in the United States.
It's now taking its place on the skyline. You can see it. We're at about 68 stories, and we're doing about a floor a week, which is exactly the kind of construction schedule you want.
When Christopher Ward began his tenure as executive director of the Port Authority in 2008, he inherited a construction project that had made little progress and was riddled with financial problems.
We came to realize that the most important part of this project was the plaza, that place where the city will gather forever and both remember the day, but also as public space. And it had to be done by the 10-year anniversary. The memorial fountains will be complete. Water will be flowing over these incredible waterfalls down into the void, and then, most importantly, the parapets with the names, the more than 3,000 people who were lost that day. And we will deliver all of that.